Welcome to our discussion on the rich and sometimes overlooked history of Africa. Today we're diving into how ancient kingdoms, like ancient Ghana, Mali, and Ethiopia, as well as fascinating centers like Timbuktu, have shaped not just local, but global narratives.
Yeah, it's really energizing to see how these early societies challenged the notion that Africa lacked writing or sophisticated systems.
Definitely. It's like people used to say Africa had no writing, but then you have sites like the lost libraries of Timbuktu, which show that there was a deep tradition of scholarship and record-keeping.
hmm And the architectural and mathematical achievements from Kemet and even Nubia, those are monumental, right?
Exactly. Kemet, for instance, not only blessed us with the pyramids, but laid early groundworks in medicine, mathematics, and even early forms of writing. I mean, can you imagine how groundbreaking it was for them to develop a calendar, early paper, and a written script?
Right. Sure, but what really challenges modern perspectives is how subsequent narratives dramatically overlook these contributions. Some old-school philosophers went as far as denying Africa's historical depth, which is, frankly, a rather limited view.
Precisely. There's been a real shift in the last 50 years. We now see Africa as, not only the birthplace of humanity, but also as a cradle for advanced state formations and trading networks.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of trading, the role of gold and vibrant commerce in empires like Mali really spurred the European interest that eventually led to those transatlantic voyages.
That's right. The export trade in gold, salt, and, yes, even enslaved people significantly reconfigured global dynamics. It's like a double-edged sword. Immense achievements on one side and, well, world-altering disruptions on the other.
I appreciate that nuance. It's fascinating how African economic and political systems were robust, and in many cases highly democratic through councils of elders and kinship-based institutions.
Absolutely. And that challenges the stereotype of Africa being a monolith of oppression. Even in societies with centralized states, participatory democracy was very much in play. The Igbo example in Nigeria shows that community practices were thriving without rigid imposed hierarchies.
Right. However, I think it's important to note the critique that sometimes this idealized view can gloss over issues like internal inequalities, as seen in the feudal-like systems in Ethiopia.
True, there were divisions of wealth and status, just as there were everywhere else at the time. But the key point remains that Africans were developing complex, indigenous systems of governance long before European colonization disrupted them.
It's incredible how these early established networks and crafts, whether in metallurgy, agriculture, or the arts, laid a foundation that modern historians are only starting to fully appreciate.
Yes, and even our current understanding is evolving. The archived site we're drawing from reminds us that much of this information, though precious, can be hard to verify due to resource decay over time.
Yeah, exactly. It's a call to continuously re-examine and preserve this heritage, ensuring that these narratives continue to inform and inspire global history.
For sure. And, the deeper we go, the more we see that Africa's contributions, be it through early scripts, trade, or political systems, are indispensable to the story of human progress.
This conversation really highlights how history is so much more layered than it often gets presented.
Absolutely. Thanks for the vibrant exchange. It's been, really enlightening.
Always a pleasure discussing such profound and diverse legacies with you.